And the first speaker is Mrs. Tuuli Länik, who is the chair of the board of Euroopa Maja, MEP coordinator for Estonia. So give warm welcome to Tuuli.
Thank you, Madam President. Mr. Van Sminia, honorable delegates, dear teachers. It is not easy to speak now after all the great speeches we have heard in these days from this same place. But I will try to express myself as well as we have seen all the delegates do. Really, all I need to say could be summarized in 2 words: thank you. But I'm afraid I will need a few more words to properly thank all the people and the institutions that have made this session possible. It is a great honor for me to speak at Riigikogu, the Parliament of Estonia, the House of Democracy in our country. I want my first words to be of gratitude to this institution that has allowed us to celebrate our General Assembly in the best possible place. Our Parliament has shown that it is not only the place where the power of the people acts through its representatives, but also a house that wants to be near the people, especially the young. I must also thank Mr. Tunne Kelam, an MEP, patron of this session and MEP Estonia, and a beloved founder of the Estonian independence movement. We had the opportunity of listening to his wise words yesterday, but it is his example that is more important for us. I must also thank all the institutions that have made this a very special week. The ministries, where you had your committee meetings, the city of Tallinn, and Tallinn Culture Capital of Europe. Without the support of European Commission, their sub-program Youth in Action, and the Ministry of Education, this session would not have been possible. My friends at the Model European Parliament Foundation, Mr. Leopold Van Sminia, Mrs. Anna Van Sminia, who unfortunately wasn't able to attend this session, have been of great assistance. Without their enthusiasm, knowledge, and hard work, MEP would not exist in the first place, and this session would most certainly have been much harder to prepare. Teachers from all over Europe have shared this session with us. It has been a pleasure to have you in our city. Thank you for your efforts, helpfulness, and kindness when things have not turned out as perfectly as we would have hoped. We all share a value that is crucial in education, especially in the age of the internet. We believe it is our task to teach our students things, facts, theories, tools, but it is much more important to teach our students to think for themselves. It is a greater challenge, but much more rewarding and much more important for their lives and the future of our society. I have to thank my colleagues from Europe, but I wish to take this opportunity to remind the students, the honorable delegates, that they are here because of the teachers. Their work, their willingness to take the responsibility of traveling with you, and their assistance deserve to be appreciated, and I think they deserve your gratitude. I am sure this would be more meaningful to them than my words. We have all worked hard to prepare for this session. I am most grateful to the team of organizers, Herman, Kati, Marko, Agnes, without whom this session would not have been possible. Since Sunday, when you arrived, this session has been in the hands of the presidency and the volunteers, a group of young people that are the proof of the success of MEP. Young people can achieve great things when given the chance, the full responsibility, and the trust they deserve. They have risen to the task and executed a session that I think none of us will forget. Thank you all. And of course, I have to thank the most important people in this room, the delegates. You have worked hard, made an effort to listen to each other with respect and understand one another. You have expressed your ideas and fought for them, but you have also been wise enough to concede some points, to try to find a common ground that you could all defend together. This is what MEP is about. This is what the European Union stands for. This is democracy. It is not about beating the adversary. It is about finding an agreement that makes us all win as much as possible. I want to thank you for this, for it has been your work. The institutions, teachers, presidency have tried to help you, but this session has been what you have made of it. And I think it has been amazing. Congratulations. MEP is an educational program. In education, it is hard to measure success. It takes time. When you work or invest in education, you always sow, so others can harvest long after your efforts. And many times you never see the results. So this session has been a success from our point of view. For a small country, relatively new to the European Union, to organize an MEP conference is a challenge, and I think we have done quite well. But the success of the session is not for me to say. The 34th MEP International Session will be a success only if you, the delegates, remember what you have demonstrated here you are capable of achieving and apply it to your everyday life. We will all have succeed if you now think of a country of the Union, and the image that comes to your mind is not the prejudices that were so funnily described at the opening ceremony, but the face of a friend, someone with whom you agree or not, but you respect and know that you can work together. Please try to keep the MEP spirit throughout your life. Thank you for this week. And please remember, in this cold corner of Europe, you leave true friends willing to welcome you again with all the warmth in our hearts. Thank you. Head Alba.
I think that the next speaker doesn't need any introduction, so let's give warm applause also to Mr. Leopold van Sminia.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Secretary General of the Model European Parliament Organization sent her warmest greetings. It is a great chance that she is with us on this moment, as it's so fantastic that this whole session of the General Assembly is online. And I can imagine that she's a bit disappointed. Disappointed that this session went so well without her. I'd like to thank in first place the Parliament of Estonia. I do not dare to pronounce it, not to make a fool of myself or to offend the Estonian Parliament. But we are most grateful to have this General Assembly for 2 days in this historic hall. Perhaps Ms. Vivica transfer my great greetings and thanks to the President of Parliament, but also of the whole personnel who made the stay here so pleasant. Especially, we should remember that today it is their free day. And then it is really, we should really be thankful for all they did for us to make us here very, very comfortable. with food and drink, everything. It was really great. Thank you. Then, the best compliment ever given to a model European Parliament was given by Mr. Kalam, who said that he, as a very experienced parliamentarian, said that he never had the opportunity, if that was one of his most important speeches he held, to speak to you, members of the European Parliament, Euro parliamentarians, because he saw very clearly that the future of Europe is in your hands. As you work together, and as you are the example of working together and going to the future together, then there's hope for Europe. It is incredible the way you behaved this week. It was also curious to see that when you meet each other, even the first days, you spoke to each other if you were already friends for years. And that's the spirit which should be the spirit of Europe. I underestimated a bit your responsibility. And as Mr. Kellam also said, freedom can't exist without responsibility. I confess that I was a bit worried, and Mrs. Tallinn knows that I was worried, about having 100 young people in a hostel. If they start rioting or having the great chaos in the hostel, then that could very well be the end of the model European Parliament, as no parents would send their children again to a model European Parliament. But you behaved so responsible, so grown up, so very, very as a MEP should be, and I'm very proud of you, of your behavior. The MEP itself is a training. There's not a debating contest. It is an information program which tries to get as much young people informed and with that interested in the European Union. And by its pyramid structure, from schools, regional sessions, national sessions, to the international sessions, there are only the very few chosen. And you are the very few chosen, who are, to say, the icing on the cake. You are the Euro parliamentarians by excellence. Please keep up the good work, also in the future. If you can help in your local organization, national, at school, regional, please do. Some will be back next fall in Skopje, and the others, please keep the best memories of this week. Thank you for being so good and nice parliamentarians. Thank you. You shouldn't have been here if there were not teachers who really put lots of time and energy in training you, and also time to accompany you here to Tallinn. They have a great responsibility which they greatly take. Also within the group of teachers, there is a sort of very friendly atmosphere. There are many who are already for years accompanying their delegations. The most senior is Mr. Kunnert from Luxembourg, for it was for the very first Model European Parliament in 1994 in The Hague, Holland, and ever then very much involved, standing there. And he is a great example for those teachers who are here for the first time. But thank you very much for all what you did to get the home structure of the Model European Parliament fixed and solid. You shouldn't have made these resolutions with good quality, excellent quality, if you just remember that they are fixed in only 14 hours. 14 hours is hardly enough time, and then we know that. But that's also the challenge, to get you under pressure. And if your resolution pass or fail is for your own feeling important, but it's not the importance of what we do here. And these resolutions could not be made without the presidents and vice presidents who really tried to make the most of it. It's a difficult job to get everybody a chance to put in his or her ideas and to keep the conversation, to keep the discussions very much focused on the result. Thank you so much. You did a very, very great job. You were fantastic presidents and vice presidents. And then there were some people without whom we were never in Tallinn. Thank you. 2003, winter, February, we had the international session in Helsinki, and during the team building, the weekend and the team building day, we flew over for a day, 2 days, to Tallinn to meet Mrs. Tuli. We were sitting there at a nice bright fire and discussing whether it would be possible to set up a MEP Estonia. Well, this resulted in 2011 in this wonderful international session in this most beautiful historic town. I think that Mrs. Studi, has some difficult times behind her, because we pestered her day and night with emails and phone calls. And it was also a bit unfair, because we were 3 against her alone. My wife Anna and myself and our office manager Marijke, one after the other, asked questions, made amendments, did all kinds of things to try to help, in the end, this work. But the real work is done here by Studi Dernek, by Herman Koolmees, we don't know where he is, and Katie Ver. Please, will the 3 of you come here, Studi, Herman, and Katie, with, if she's here, with Sam Selman, would he? She didn't come? Huh? Oh, she will be in the farewell party, because I have here. Wait, there's 3.
Yeah, but cut it.
Courtesy certificate.
is Tuli's. Yeah, this is Tuli's.
Okay. This is the certificate for extremely good work for the MEP. Please keep it in mind. And thank you so much for everything you did. Really great. Thank you. Then Herman, I thank you so much. It was for us a great relief that you were willing to stay in the hostel as a sort of supervisor, which gives us a feeling of rest, and that the things will be fine. Also for you, a certificate for outstanding services and typical Dutch coffee sweets. I think it's best to do some Dutch sort of. And then the last student.
It's Kat is not here.
What? No, but then I give the two to Viveka. And then I like to ask Miss Viveka to come here. As a token of appreciation for everything you and your whole staff did, I will give you some Dutch. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pansminia. And now I'm going to welcome my good friend and co-president Carl, who is going to give you a short speech.
Thank you, Madam President, dear delegates, Vice President, Committee President, dear guests. This has been a very wonderful week, full of joy, fun, memorable debate. But to the most of you, tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow, you might ask a question. And that question is, what was this all about? What happened? And I'll tell you. It was energy. It was potential energy that you found within yourselves. You were able to work all day in your committees, move from one place to another, have lunch, and when night time came, you had more extra work, extra activities. You debated even more. Furthermore, you were able to bear the time in this hall. You were able to give absolutely brilliant resolutions. And throughout all that, you were able to become really good friends. If you look around this nice blue hall, then you can see that I really do have a lot of friends now. And from my personal experience, I can say that this bond which you have with them, which you created here, lasts and is very strong. Because I have been doing this for 6 years. And most of the organizers, except two, Kati and Tuuli, have all been delegates sitting right here. All of the vice presidents have sat here. All of the Estonian delegates have been sitting here. And we have met maybe once a year, twice a year. And we really do, like Mr. Pansminia and Tuuli said, we really do know each other like we have been knowing each other for a very long time. So that is the small buzz that comes out of Model European Parliament. I like to call it romance. Organising and participating here, or whichever session, is very fun. You often find yourself in a situation which later becomes a story. And there's a personal favorite of mine concerning this session. And I would like to call this story Finding Albert. On Tuesday, I believe, there was a delegate who was missing and he was called Albert. Everybody was calling Albert. Everybody was very concerned. Even the Estonian law enforcement was very concerned. Well, Albert is. Albert was sleeping in his room. We just forgot to knock on the right door. And these happy endings make the Model European Parliament worthwhile. And it's really fun. It is very hard to get out of the Model European Parliament atmosphere, that tingling buzz inside. You can't quite explain it, but I'll try. It is the feeling of adventure and in the world of debates. It's the feeling that you know that you are expressing your ideas and your ideas are being listened to. They are not only listening to you, but they are working with you to understand you, what you are saying, and they are trying to fill in the blanks in your logic. Sometimes the blanks are hard to fill, sometimes impossible. But sometimes you come up, and you have come up with resolutions which actually reflect the ideas of the real European Parliament. The only difference is that you don't get paid, and you have to work on Saturdays. And it really is amazing. And maybe I'm going on a slim line, but all of the previous speakers have told us that you are the future of Europe. You're not. I would like to say that you are the present of Europe, and you are the power of the future of tomorrow's Europe. You are already here. You're already taking part of the big plan. Take that role. And I do believe that this has been, or this is at the moment, the most efficient parliament in the whole world. And whoever is going to Strasbourg or Brussels, please take the whole assembly with you and seat them where they have to seat in the real European Parliament. Because I declare the 34th Model European Parliament session closed. Thank you very much.